Samsung's first two QLEDs of 2019 so far have been impressive. Now it's time to check out the third and see if the streak continues. Hi, I'm Carl with Apt, and in this video we'll be taking a look at the Samsung Q80 series. The one we've got here is the 65-inch version, but we do carry it in other sizes, which you can check out at the link in the description below. It really only has a couple of notable upgrades over the 70, so we were interested to see if they actually made a difference and whether the extra cost was worth it. First off, the design is almost the same as the 70. The size of the bezels are the same, however the 80 comes in what Samsung calls a carbon silver finish, so it's a little bit lighter in color than the 70 or 60 for that matter. The pedestal's a little different too. They're flat feet on this one, not the angled ones that you see on the 60 and 70. They do still have some cable management built in, but it's limited to basically one cable through each channel, so it's something to be aware of if you're planning on hooking up more than a couple of different sources to it. Moving around to the back of the 80, you can actually see the inputs are exactly the same as the 60 and 70. You get 4 HDMI 2.1 connections, 2 USB Type-A inputs, RS-232C, an antenna hookup, and an optical audio output. Now touching back on the HDMIs for a sec, yes, they are 2.1, however, they have the same limitations just like the other 4K QLED sets from 2019 that Samsung's offering. Your audio return channel isn't eARC, but you can still send Atmos as long as your TV's outputting Dolby Digital Plus, and high frame rate content is going to be limited to 2K at 120 frames per second. For gaming though, you get FreeSync compatibility along with auto low latency to help with screen tearing. And there's support for dynamic metadata too. We're also happy to report that lag times were great again on this one, just like we've seen on the other QLED sets this year. You have to make sure to turn off the Game Motion Plus option to get the best times available though. We were getting about 40 milliseconds with Game Motion Plus turned on and about 14 milliseconds with it turned off. It does auto default to that setting the first time you turn on game mode, so make sure to check out our video on how to turn off that feature to get those faster times. Now let's take a look at the picture. Like the other QLED TVs in the 2019 lineup, the 80 can play back HDR, HDR10+, and HLG. Samsung's also implemented a couple features that are designed to enhance the viewing experience. The 80, along with the 90, has something called ultra black technology, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It maintains a really deep black level in really bright rooms. You can tell actually when you shine lights directly onto the screen that it's softening the reflections quite a bit. But here's the potential downside. It seems like this causes the blacks to get crushed, even when watching HDR content. I'm just not picking up as much detail as I've seen on other models in Samsung's lineup. The whites, although in some tests they were a little dim, I'm finding are still getting sufficiently bright, but the blacks can almost seem too dark sometimes. To me, it's really very similar to what you'd get on an OLED. Thankfully though, these QLEDs get a lot brighter than those, so it's not all bad. The other thing they've added here is their ultra viewing angle, which does exactly what it says. The 80 does a terrific job of maintaining colors and brightness as you move off to the sides, again, similar to an OLED. Motion was handled well on this one too, just like we've seen on the 60 and 70. I found myself just leaving it on auto mode and was happy with the results. Not much noticeable judder, and there was enough blur to make the motion seem natural. As far as smart features go, this has the same as the rest of the QLEDs, and all that's handled through Samsung Smart Hub. It's easy to navigate and the menus are straightforward. There's really nothing new there. What is new on the 2019 sets though, and you may have heard me talk about this in our other videos, is the ability to work with Alexa and Google Assistant. You have to add a piece like a Home Mini or an Echo Dot, but they'll allow you to use voice commands on the TV if you choose not to use the built-in Bixby assistant from Samsung. Bixby does offer more in-depth control of the TV though, like changing the picture modes or getting into specific menus, but for people who already have Alexa or Google Assistant products around the house, you now have the ability to integrate these TVs into those systems a lot more easily. All in all, I like this TV a lot. With the addition of ultra black and the wide viewing angle, you get black levels and viewing angles that are going to be similar to an OLED, but those features do add to the cost of the TV. I got just as much enjoyment out of the 70 as I did the 80 and could make out more details in the dark scenes. So to me, the 70 is the better value. Now with that being said though, if you're putting this TV in a really bright room or you sit in a spot that isn't directly in front of the set often, you'll appreciate the upgrades that the 80 offers. Which would you go with? Make sure you let us know in the comments. As always, we appreciate you checking out our video, and don't forget to subscribe so you get updates whenever we upload new content.